Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Hello, Ashok. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to welcome you to the Local Business Hacks Podcast. As you know, I'm Carl Case, Head of Business Development over here at Referrizer. And I'm so excited for you to tell the world about your story. So do me a favor, introduce yourself and tell us how you got here.
Absolutely, Carl. Well, thank you for the opportunity, for bringing me into this podcast and allowing me to speak. My name is Ashok Kumar. I am the owner of 3 title boxing club locations in Michigan, around the Detroit area. Farmington Hills, Troy, and Birmingham. So before entering the franchising world, I was in the IT world. Started off as a hardcore programmer, developer, Java programming, and then got into management, led $1 million projects for my company. But anyway, and at some point I decided that I wanted to go chase the American dream, right? I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to control my own destiny. So I was like, what the heck? Let's give it a shot, right? Long story short, my wife and I decided to jump in. I think our daughter was 2 years old. My wife was getting ready to go back into the working world. And instead, we decided to take all our life savings and put it into our first business.
Real American dream.
Yes, three locations of Title Boxing Club we purchased. We opened our first one. Well, let's see, we signed up in 2012. We opened our first location February 2013, and that is in Farmington Hills, Michigan. And since then, we've opened Troy, Michigan back in 2015 and Birmingham, Michigan in 2019. Happy to say, I will have to talk about myself. I guess I will. I don't like doing it, but I will. We won awards every single year we've been in business with Title, minus the pandemic year, I guess. Sales awards. Helping franchisees award. And I think the highlight was the franchisee of the year that we got about 3 or 4 years ago. That's awesome. So we've done well, knock on wood. It's been a fun ride. It has been struggles at times, hard work, sweat, long hours, learned some lessons along the way, of course, but I wouldn't change anything about it. I completely love what I'm doing now.
I thank you so much for that story. Obviously, the American dream is something that so many people all overseas, we support clients in 74 different countries. So we're constantly, being compared to so many different things, but congratulations first off, and opening a studio in 2019. I can only imagine that none of us ever imagined that 2020 was going to be the worst year for gym membership sales ever. Right. So talk to me a little bit about, how you guys dealt with the pandemic, or what did you do to keep the stores afloat? Because you still obviously own and operate those 3 locations and seem to be doing well. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Correct. So fortunately for us, we were on very stable ground when the pandemic hit. 2 of our clubs were Farmington and Troy were doing really well, knock on wood. So we worked hard to get to where we were, and that helped support club number 3 during the downturn. So we did all right. I kept a couple of my staff members gainfully employed. We did some online workouts. Some of our members opted in to pay us, even though we chose to freeze every membership. Wow. But among about 950 odd members, all 3 clubs combined, 100 of them chose to pay us to keep us afloat. So that was amazing. I get goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah.
The help from the government did help, I have to say. Overall, we've come back very strong. We are a good 95, 98% back to where we were before the pandemic. So again, hard work. And I'm wrapping up this podcast and headed over to one of my locations. So that's life, right? I love it though.
That's awesome. Yeah, the cliche thing is love your job so much that it doesn't feel like a job.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I learned something really early, and I think that really helps. And I kind of mentioned it too a little bit. We don't look at our customers as customers. I'm not just saying that. Yeah. I mean, we do treat them as family, right? So we know each one of them that walks in through our doors. I'll tell you, I was sitting in the back room training my 2 new staff members. This past week. And I hear a knock on the door, and it's one of our members. And he knew I wasn't training new staff, but he had to show his new granddaughter to me. He's like, I don't care. Ashok needs to see you. And I mean, that's the kind of relationships you build. And honestly, that has helped keep us afloat and get us back to where we are now.
Yeah, and that speaks a testament to what we're after, and any business is after, is really creating those cheerleaders inside of their space. And obviously, we appreciate our relationship with you to where you're like, yeah, I'd love to get on this call with Carl, who I don't even know, to talk about whatever it is, because of that brand and because of what the organization has done for you. And it's a testament to any marketing agency, because everybody focuses on what we talked about earlier, which is lead count and cost per lead, when in actuality, if I tell a business owner that their cost per lead might be 4 times what they're currently paying today, but I'm going to convert double the amount of members as they used to. Think about what you do in your setting when you have somebody come in as a lead. Typically they're coming in as a discounted price or a trial that could potentially be free. Right. And we all know what a Grouponer of the world is. We want to avoid those at all possibilities. Unfortunately, we don't always know what we don't know. Right. But going after, the proper demographic that we hone in on, and making sure that we exploit that person to make sure that they're a good fit for you, which is, something that I always educate people on, is the difference between running paid ads on Google versus Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, yes.
If I'm running a paid ad I'll ask you this. When's the last time you went directly to a website and didn't type it in on Google first?
Google all the time. Yeah. You have big difference. Facebook, I'm browsing, up pops an ad saying, hey, you might be interested in this. Google, I go look for it. So of course, it's a higher quality ad, no, higher quality lead, no questions.
Exactly. And I'm not convincing myself that I want to go to title boxing. I'm finding title boxing and going to it because it's something that I want. Right. So I'm glad you understand that, because unfortunately I've realized that a lot of people don't. And we spend so much time on paid ads and all these things that we really want to understand as business owners, what's driving revenue in the short term, but most importantly, the long term.
Right.
Which is why, we invest in search engine optimization and these platforms to come up on Google on that top page.
Right. So, and Referrizer has helped, honestly. And, I worked with Sabrina years ago, then Elena. You guys have been great. And, this helps me. It helps market me too. But honestly, I would do this for Referrizer even if it didn't.
We appreciate that. Talk to me, obviously you're growing at an amazing rate. And I imagine that you're not the world's first anomaly that deals with employee problems. So if you don't mind, shed some light on what are your issues today when it comes to employees, and how have you, any tips, tricks, suggestions, or things that you can share with the audience?
Sure. Like every other business, like every other small business, we've struggled, right, with staff. It's just the way the market is. It's just the way, how things are out there now. I tell my staff this, right? And I believe in it. My wife, she's co-owner, right? I tell her this too. We can't control what we can't control.
Of course.
Right? We can only control what we do control. And that is taking care of your staff. Could be little things as, appreciating them, like little gift cards when they step up, taking them out to lunch, right? And I do really mean this. I have 25 staff members, all 3 locations combined. And I know where each one is in his or her life and, what their struggles are. And as much as I can, I try to help them out.
That's
right.
Amazing.
And it goes a long way. And we've retained both our general managers from 2 of our 3 locations through the pandemic. My wife actually runs our busiest location, so thank God I've still retained her. But all jokes aside, I think it goes a long way when you build that relationship.
Of course.
Because if there is an issue, financial or otherwise, they should come to me first before they go out in the market. And then don't get me wrong, we have had our struggles, right? The newer staff that we bring on board, they have left quickly. So we've had to constantly train people. Definitely have processes to onboard someone quickly, soon. That helps. And we have a process. We bring them on board. We train them on the operations, on all the technology, and that's a fast process. But then things like sales and marketing will take more time. But we hold off on that until the person settles in. So training process is huge. Having a process, having systems that help people get on board will help also, of course.
Yeah, that I appreciate that. And it's obviously keeping those two GMs, and I can imagine a handful of your staff throughout the whole time is an amazing thing, because there's nothing worse than having to find a replacement, but yet we still go with the slow to hire, quick to fire theory, because
absolutely. And we've also retained a head trainer. I mean, this individual is 30 plus years in the martial arts world. I think is one of a handful of people that has a 5th degree black belt in American freestyle karate. So highly reputable guy. He knows what he's doing, but we've retained him also, so thank God, because we have had some turmoil outside of all that. And we've it's the nice thing is, light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if something has changed, but just in the last, I would say 45 to 60 days or so, I am getting more responses to my job ads, more people applying. And for the first time in a while, we may actually be a little overstaffed. So hopefully we've turned the corner.
I got goosebumps hearing that.
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. And I can say that I've actually heard very similar things over the last month from my clients.
Yeah.
Because, we've even run paid ads for Massage Envy on finding them massage therapists, because you're dealing with studios that have 3,000 to 5,000 members, and they know that they're going to schedule X amount of times throughout the month. And there's nothing worse than losing a member to not having, the proper team to support them.
Absolutely right.
So I'm glad to hear that. I guess I'd like to open it to you on what is, one lesson that no matter in your journey that maybe you've shared with other people that have been inspiring, or something that you can really, or a couple things, whatever you're comfortable with, that you wish that you knew maybe a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, that you now know in the space that could potentially help other business owners like you.
Well, how about I talk about one thing I learned over the years, and one thing that I did know that has definitely helped. Actually, so I, like most people, small business owners, I came from the corporate world, right? And I won't say better, but it's definitely a different mindset when you own your own small business.
Sure.
And I had to learn that sometimes the hard way, right? Just working with staff members, you approach it differently, as opposed to doing so in the corporate world, right? So I've learned that over the years. Again, really good staff members. I still have my first trainer that I hired, location 1. He's in his 10th year with me. So that's something that, if you are getting into a small business, maybe talk to ones that have already done this a while, so you can understand the nuances and the differences. That's one. 2, and you probably know this, but definitely do not start anything that you're not passionate about. So my friends thought I was crazy, just so you know. Life was good, everything, bills were paid off, and they're like, "You're doing what? You're opening a boxing club? How often have you boxed?" I'm like, "Never." But fitness was something that I loved. And when I realized it was a fitness club, and where people come in to beat up something that doesn't hit back, that got me hooked. Fitness was something that I was really into. But we spent a good year understanding the brand, knowing the brand before we signed on. And what sold me in the end were the workouts. I went down to Kansas City, did the classes, loved it. I called my wife and said, "We're doing this." So definitely make sure you're passionate about what you're jumping into. Don't just do it because people say it's profitable, you make money, flip houses, right? I mean, not everybody can flip houses, right? So passion, do your homework, and definitely, nuances of owning a small business versus working in the corporate world.
Well, thank you. And if it's okay, I'd love to add, chase your dream and be able to, make that jump and that investment in yourself, because when you're doing things like that, you're the only one that can really let you down. Correct. And that's, something that everyone, I believe, preaches is, make that step. You never want to wake up one morning and say, "I wish that I had time to do this." You got to make that time.
You're giving me goosebumps. I'll tell you why. Because I remember I started this journey in my early 30s. Mid 30s, I decided I am going to do it. And we opened our first club when I was 37. So my goal was to, anyway, so just rewinding back, you just gave me back a really good memory, because I told Kavita, my wife, that I don't want to wake up one day and go, I'm 50 years old. I wish I had tried
whatever.
this. Right. And I wanted to give entrepreneurship a shot. My dad is a small business owner. He was my uncle, my grandfather even. And I needed to give it a shot. So here I am.
Congrats. Cheers to that. I'm proud of you. I so appreciate these lessons. I think it's amazing to hear, and hopefully this podcast inspires anybody that is in corporate America writing code, although developers now are getting paid so much money. Hats off to you. But it's not really always about the money. You and I could probably work anywhere that we want, but we love what we do. And that's, such a testament. I have a team that's in 12 countries, and wow. I get to visit those people. Shout out to you guys all the time, and have, where we're pulling in multiple countries and people that have never met, because we're an all digital company, and they're meeting for the first time off of Zoom and in person. Every time I get oh my God, Carl, you're so tall. I never expected, which is the funniest. But I mean, it's incredible. So congratulations. I'm super proud of you guys, and we appreciate this relationship. That'll be all for today's podcast. We thank you guys for listening, and be sure to check out the links below to see any other videos that we got and podcasts going on. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Carl. Love being here.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business, just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening, and keep hacking.